The hardest part about proving people wrong is realizing that sometimes the people who doubted you the most are the ones whose approval you wanted all along. The night my family discovered what I had secretly built, everything changed, but not in the way I expected. My name is Madison Carter, and for years I was known as the strange daughter who never followed the safe path. While my older brother Ethan collected promotions, awards, and praise from everyone around him, I spent my days building software products that nobody in my family bothered trying to understand. Every month, my parents hosted a large family gathering at their lake house outside Nashville, and the evening always followed a predictable pattern. My mother prepared her famous homemade meals, while my father found a way to steer every conversation toward career, achievements, and financial stability. That particular Saturday felt no different when Ethan arrived carrying exciting news and immediately became the center of attention. His wife, Olivia, smiled proudly beside him while he announced that he had just been promoted to regional operations manager at a national logistics company. The room erupted with applause as my father raised a glass and declared that hard work and discipline always paid off in the end. My mother beamed with pride while asking detailed questions about salary increases, leadership responsibilities, and future opportunities. When Ethan revealed that his compensation package would push him close to six figures annually, everyone reacted as though he had won a championship trophy. My father spent several minutes explaining how steady employment and climbing the corporate ladder remained the smartest route to success. Then, as always, the conversation drifted toward me and my supposedly uncertain future. My mother casually explained to relatives that I was still experimenting with technology projects and trying to figure out where life was taking me. I had heard those same comments so many times that I no longer bothered defending myself. Instead, I quietly focused on my plate while listening to another lecture about retirement plans, health insurance, and the importance of traditional employment. My father looked directly at me and suggested that I still had time to build a respectable career if I stopped chasing risky ideas. Ethan even offered to connect me with recruiters at his company and joked that an entry-level position could help me finally get my foot in the door. I smiled politely, even though the remarks stung more than I wanted to admit. For 7 years, I had been working longer hours than anyone at that table, yet they continued treating me like someone who had never truly started adulthood. As the conversation continued, my phone vibrated repeatedly inside my pocket and refused to stop. Normally, I would have ignored it, but the constant notifications felt different, almost urgent, as if something major had happened. When I finally glanced at the screen, I saw multiple missed calls from my attorney and several messages from my financial team. One short notification stood out from all the others and immediately caused my pulse to race through my chest. The message simply read, "Congratulations, the transaction is complete and the funds have been released." My hands trembled slightly as I excused myself from the table and stepped onto the quiet back porch overlooking the dark water. I called my attorney, Gregory Walsh, who answered before the first ring had fully ended. His voice carried the excitement of someone delivering life-changing news as he informed me that the acquisition had officially closed minutes earlier. For 7 exhausting years, I had been building a technology company called Insight Harbor from a tiny rented warehouse with almost no resources. Now a global software corporation had completed the purchase after months of negotiations and due diligence reviews. Gregory explained that the cash portion alone exceeded $75 million and had already been transferred to my account. He also reminded me that additional performance shares could eventually increase the total value of the agreement by tens of millions more. I remained on the porch for several moments after the call ended, staring at the lake and trying to process what had happened. Every sleepless night, every rejected proposal, and every terrifying financial setback had led to this single moment. When I returned inside, nobody had any idea that my entire life had changed during the previous 15 minutes. Ethan was still discussing luxury vehicles, while relatives congratulated him on finally reaching the income level he had always wanted. The contrast felt almost surreal as I listened to people celebrate a salary increase while knowing that a corporation had just purchased the company I created. For the first time in years, I decided not to stay silent when someone questioned whether my projects were actually going anywhere. Ethan eventually asked what I was earning these days and suggested that successful people should never be afraid to discuss finances openly. The room grew quiet as everyone waited for my answer, expecting another vague response about freelance work and side projects. Instead, I calmly explained that I had just sold my technology company and that the deal had finalized earlier that evening. At first, nobody reacted because they assumed I was talking about a small business transaction rather than a major corporate acquisition. Then my father asked how much the company had sold for, and I told them the truth without exaggeration or dramatic presentation. The silence that followed felt heavier than any argument we had ever shared, because nobody knew how to process the number they had just heard. Questions exploded from every direction as relatives tried understanding how the daughter they viewed as lost had built an international software enterprise. I explained that our platform helped major manufacturers predict supply chain disruptions and that hundreds of businesses relied on our technology every day. My mother looked devastated when she realized how many times she had dismissed conversations about my work without listening carefully. My father sat quietly as memories resurfaced of every lecture he had delivered about finding a real career and abandoning unrealistic dreams. Ethan eventually followed me outside after dinner and apologized for years of assumptions and condescending advice. He admitted that he had mistaken familiarity for understanding and had never truly taken the time to learn what I was building. The following weeks brought interviews, business articles, and endless congratulations from people who suddenly viewed me differently because of a dollar amount attached to my name. Yet the most meaningful change came from my family finally asking genuine questions and listening to the answers with respect. What I learned from that experience is that success often arrives long before others recognize it. And sometimes the people around us cannot see our progress because it looks different from their own journey. Please subscribe to our channel and share this video with your friends and family. We create entertaining and inspiring stories for our viewers, and your support helps us continue making great content for you.